Hey guys, Cyrus Fiene here with the Cyrus Fiene team at Coldwell Banker Bain here in Seattle. And this week we had some awesome news, great news about the Sound Transit light rail expansion. Now this isn't directly related to housing, but this is a really big deal. The East Side light rail expansion is officially happening starting on April 27th. We haven't had a light rail expansion in the Seattle area for about 2 years since we had that expansion from Capitol Hill to the University District in North Seattle. So everyone's been waiting in great anticipation for this expansion to finally start happening and for it to finally take shape. And what was kind of unfortunate was that I-90 expansion over the bridge, probably the most complicated part for the engineers to put together and design. Unfortunately, that got messed up, and that expansion from Seattle to Bellevue through Mercer Island has gotten delayed. So that was a real bummer when we heard that, because essentially, from those of us on the outside, we felt like there was no way that they weren't going to start the expansion and start opening the lines to the east side until they fix that I-90 section. That being said, Sound Transit made so much progress on the east side between Bellevue and Redmond that they decided, well, let's go ahead and just open those up here on April 27th. And when that second phase of the light rail on the east side is completed, we'll officially connect Seattle and Bellevue. So that area between Seattle, Mercer Island, and Bellevue on I-90 where the light rail is, that is going to be expanded and open likely sometime next year. In the meantime, I thought we could talk about what the east side expansion currently looks like, and that is specifically being referred to as Line 2. The Line 1 is the one that goes up the Seattle side, and that's going to continue to expand north. So I wanted to give a quick overview of what that east side expansion is going to look like on April 27th. On April 27th, it's going to officially open from Redmond to South Bellevue. So that includes 8 stops, which is pretty awesome. It starts over at Microsoft, the HQ over there, heads over to Overlake Village, then Bell Red, Spring District, Wilburton, downtown Bellevue, East Main, and of course, South Bellevue. So this is going to be pretty awesome. From downtown Bellevue to Redmond and vice versa, it's only going to be about 10 minutes, which is incredible, especially given the fact that at high times, they're going to be running these trains every 8 minutes. So in 2025, when the I-90 phase of this light rail is done, you're going to be able to take the light rail all the way from Redmond to Judkins Park and past that to the International District, where you're able to transfer to the Line 1. The Line 1 will take you up through Seattle and further north, and of course you can take it south to the airport, which is going to be super convenient. So the expansion of the light rail is a really big deal, just given the fact that our infrastructure needs to handle the growth rate here in King County. The population has been steadily growing between 13,000 people a year up to 40,000. The light rail expansion is really the best solution to getting less cars on the road and allowing for less congestion and a more steady growth rate while maintaining that quality of life. Now, in other big news, the Line 1 is actually going to be going to get its expansion later this year. So the opening date hasn't formally been announced, but you can see it going north on I-5. You see all of the construction, you can see how far along they are. This is very exciting. Obviously, April and spring, you're going to be getting the East Link expansion. But just as important, we're actually getting the northern expansion to the light rail on the Line 1. When Line 1 to the north actually expands, we're getting 4 new stations. It's going to be in Shoreline on 148th Street. There's going to be a station, one on 185th, one in Mount Lake Terrace, and then of course the Linwood City Center light rail station. To me, this expansion is actually even a bigger deal than the the East Side expansion as it stands right now. I think when I-90 is done, that's going to be a super big deal because you're connecting Seattle and Bellevue, and we're no longer constrained to just cars or buses. And if you've been on I-90 at peak traffic hours, you just know it's going to be really nice when we have the light rail and you don't have to account for traffic and you can just get on and go. So this north expansion, in my opinion, is actually a bigger deal right now largely because you're expanding that section of the Line 1 that can take you all the way down to Seattle and the airport. Linwood is already a major transit hub. The Linwood Park and Ride is really critical to the northern part of Seattle and in those suburbs, largely because it's at the crosshairs of 405 and I-5. And because those two cross there, you can easily access the east side or Seattle when you're driving or taking the bus. So the light rail expansion in Linwood, I think, is actually the most critical expansion here on Line 1 and in the north. I think that is a super big deal, and the gravity of that will really be felt here when it opens up later this year. We're already seeing positive changes in Mount Lake Terrace. The Mount Lake Terrace never really had a downtown. I grew up in Edmonds, and no one ever really said, let's go to Mount Lake Terrace. You're already seeing the downtown get revitalized, and it's really incredible to see all the new apartments, as well as business and commerce and City Hall and the library they have there as well. Growing up in Edmonds and going to Seattle U for university, this would have been an incredible infrastructure to have, to be able to just get on the light rail and end up in Capitol Hill right next to Seattle U. That would have been a dream when I was commuting my last year of university. So some projected travel times that are pretty awesome that I'm excited about is Mount Lake Terrace to downtown Bellevue in 48 minutes with the light rail. I mean, that's going to be virtually impossible to beat at traffic hours, peak traffic hours here in Seattle. Obviously, just having that guaranteed time is going to be pretty amazing, as well as the fact that the cost to take the light rail is very affordable, given the fact that you're not accounting for gas, insurance, car maintenance, all that stuff. From Linwood to Westlake Center in 28 minutes, that might be the thing that I'm most excited about. That's a route that I've taken thousands of times living here in Seattle and growing up north. Linwood to Westlake in 28 minutes is a big deal. I mean, Edmonds to downtown Seattle, Linwood to downtown Seattle and Westlake Center. I mean, just driving, that's going to take 25 minutes at the very fastest with no one else on the road, and you're hitting all green lights. So that's going to be huge for those who live in North King County and in South Snohomish County. By 2026, they're predicting about 47,000 to 55,000 in ridership per year. I absolutely believe that, especially coming from Linwood. We just have such a need for it up there. Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you guys are excited as I am about the light rail expansion and the infrastructure that is being built out in Seattle and Bellevue and the surrounding areas. This is something that we've needed for decades, and it's finally happening, so it's awesome to see that. Of course, with the World Cup in 2026, we're going to need even more of this type of infrastructure, and these timelines are absolutely hitting it. Drop a comment below with which station you are most excited about. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.